1000-958.
As you've been hearing, the High Court appointed an interim examiner to Drogheda United Football Club yesterday as the club's woes deepen. Here's what Vincent Hoey had to say outside of the court.
Well, it's all about the planning for a new stadium. That new stadium should have been built on the 1st of March. I should have been cutting the tape. Unfortunately, what I would call planning difficulties, and that's an understatement, has delayed it beyond all belief. It has upset all our plans. We achieved all we wanted to do on the field and off the field. We've represented Drogheda and the whole North East with pride, and we've represented it abroad in Europe. And I know that I have 100% support back in Drogheda for everything we have done. But unfortunately, we got into what I would euphemistically call the planning mire. And that has to be looked at and investigated. But the final nail was the publication of an area development plan, which it's too technical to go into it all here now, but it certainly showed me that we had no future if that was to stand. Now, that has to come up before the Meath councillors in a few weeks' time. There are many observations about it. I know that there are observations or objections, if you like, to it, and unless it's varied back to what it was and what we believed was going to happen happens, then that is a non-starter then for us.
All right, that's Vincent Hoey outside of the High Court yesterday. He's on the line with us this morning. Thanks as always for joining us. And I know as the chairman of the football club, you'll want to talk about the future and whatever bailout might be possible. But in relation to what you were saying there about the planning process, Vincent, as you know, we've a very strong statement issued by the developer who was involved in the project with you, Bill Doyle, and we've a response to that from Meath County Council. They say that the executive and the elected council did everything humanly possible to facilitate your project. Is that a position you agree with?
Well, you'd want to be a magician to understand the machinations of local government and of the whole plan, what goes on in planning as well. I've struggled to understand it, to be quite honest, and I'll bring you back to the time when I made an appeal to the 5 councillors in East Meath. We talked to them all. I issued a statement, I'm looking at it here now. The lands have been acquired, the developer has been sourced, the finance is guaranteed, the builder's ready to start work, the dream is ready to come true. But we need these 5 councillors to pass a variation to enable us to proceed. We understood they were going to do that. The day before it, I thought they were going to do it. And lo and behold, they go over to the meeting and they don't do it. At the time, I got an explanation that somebody from the Meath County Council had told them that they couldn't do it or that they shouldn't do it or whatever. And that put a spanner in our works, quite frankly. And you begin to say, why did they not do it then? Where some people seeing ahead of, had other reasons for not doing it. I just, as I say, it defies belief. Now, as far as what Bill Doyle has to say, first of all, I have to say with Bill Doyle, I found him very honourable to deal with. Anything he ever said he would do, he did. He has expended a huge amount of money on professional fees, on working, preparing plans, etc., etc. Huge.
And you take him at his word then that he was given assurances by Tom Dowling, the county manager, and Mr. Dowling's officials that the land would be zoned residential.
Well, I mean, the man would be an absolute lunatic to do what he did if he didn't have some assurances that this was all going to work out for him.
Well, obviously, I have to mention that the council refute that.
But I mean, for years we've all known that all that area was to be developed for housing, and the three county council, the county council of Louth, the Drogheda Corporation, the Meath. I mean, the Drogheda Independent, if one could find it, had a plan showing the northern environs and the southern environs and how the whole future was to be, and Mr. Doyle, as far as I know, we were dealing on a nearly daily basis with him, not only with him, but with his architect and his other professionals, his planning consultants. And nobody had a whit of an idea that all this was to be in vain, and that suddenly this area... we were told at the time that the 5 councillors refused to pass our contravention, that the reason was that there had to be an area plan for the whole area, and it all had to be integrated, etc., etc. And so, lo and behold, when it finally comes out, and I use the word finally because the darn thing was put back and back and back, and you ask yourself why, but it finally comes out, and we are not even included in it at all.
Okay.
Look, the whole thing needs to be put under the microscope. I'm not saying who or what or why, but all I'm saying is that Bill Doyle with us was very straight all along, and the man has been shafted. I mean,
well, Bill Doyle is saying who, and he's asking why. He says that councillors Jimmy Cudden and Tom Kelly effectively killed the plan. We've asked both of the councillors to join us on the programme to respond. Councillor Cudden has said no, and Councillor Kelly is considering making a response to this. But Bill Doyle is asking as well, what is their motivation, and were they aware of what they were doing and that they would effectively kill the plan?
Well, once I saw that local area plan, I knew that Drogheda United were finished as far as Bryanstown was concerned, if that plan stood, because I knew that there'd be no road into the stadium, there'd be no... We got a planning permission from Meath, and there's no doubt the councillors can say that they passed the variation in the end, but... And I don't say that anybody was deliberately trying to shaft Drogheda United, but the result of what has happened is that we have gone down with Mr. Doyle, and certainly, councillors are entitled to zone any land they like, and they have their own business and their own motivations for doing it, and that. But when they did it at the expense of Doyle by taking his housing away, which he was relying on, so that was the whole basis on which he could fund the road, and he could fund help us with our stadium, etc. So some people, people like county councillors and officials, they are a hell of a lot more clued in than I am, and they must have seen any fool. I only had to look at that plan for a couple of minutes, and I knew that was the end. Now, why just to be clear, does not see it?
Well, to be clear, Vincent, what did they do? Is it that councillors Cudden and Kelly decided to move the zoned residential from Bryanstown to the Mill Road?
Well, when you say that they decided, they're not deciding anything, but I mean, they certainly have been running a campaign to get those lands included in it, against obviously the consultants wanted, and against apparently the recommendations at times of the county council officials. And so,
but they would have pushed for this strongly against
to do that and run campaigns for whatever motivation they like, but to do it at the expense of Doyle, who had spent years and a huge amount of money, I mean, that certainly, is going too far in my view,
But do you agree they pushed it hardest against the advice of the county manager, and that effectively killed off your plans?
Well, that appears to be the situation, but I'm asking that people look at it, and I'm asking now from Bill Doyle's point of view. The county councillors, every one of those 29 the county councillors in Meath, have to look and examine their conscience about this. Look, inform themselves, see what's going on, and make a fair decision in the public interest, and in fairness and justice and equity and anything you like that. Doyle shouldn't be treated like that, in my view. As I say, if they want to zone half the county Meath, that they can do it, but they shouldn't have done this and land him in the position that they put him. And of course, it looks grand that everybody was supporting Drogheda United, but they have to know that once there was the road, once Doyle went down, we went down into the abyss with him. And so you can give us all the planning permissions in the world.
Okay.